Welcome to Creature Guide Live. For those of you that don't know, my name is Ethan. We're going to get into some animal news from around the world as well as different funny animal videos. So, diving into the first article from oceans.ubc.ca or from the University of British Columbia. Diet alone doesn't explain divergent health of California sea lions in US and Mexico. When scientists compared what California sea lions eat in the Channel Islands of the US and the Gulf of California, Mexico, they expected to find a clear explanation for why populations were booming in California but shrinking in Mexico. Instead, they found something more complicated. That is interesting. Why is that occurring with that specific population? Because these are different populations of California sea lions along the North American coast. Technically, this species of sea lion inhabits from southern, like the southeastern tip of Alaska to or all the way down to Baja California, Baja California, Mexico. So let's see. The study found that what sea lions eat may matter less than where they live. Despite large regional differences in population trends, the study found that the overall energy, let's see, the overall energy value of sea lion diets in the Gulf of California and the Channel Islands was nearly identical. Yeah, so it doesn't seem like it can be diet. What surprised us most was that even though sea lion populations in the Gulf of California,
Forgot to tell me to put it up.
oh, sorry, everybody, are declining while those in the Channel Islands are thriving, their overall diet quality was similar. This highlighted how this region is a patchwork of different environments, environmental heterogeneity, rather than diet quality alone, influences sea lion population trends in Mexico. So let's take a look. I don't know what population this individual could be a part of, but he seems quite cheerful. Sea lions are members of the pinniped family of marine mammals, which is basically the very streamlined, five-fingered branch of marine mammals, and there are around three different families. So there's the walrus, which belongs to its own distinct family of pinnipeds, and it's mainly distinguished by its tusks, even though there's a wide variety of characteristics that make walruses different from other pinnipeds. Then there's the eared seals, such as California sea lions, and then there are the earless seals, like ringed seals, which are the one of the species of seal that polar bears feed on. Let's see. So, okay? Posas Franco says this variability underscores how much local conditions matter. Because California sea lions in Mexico are under special protection due to overall population declines, management plans should focus on understanding the unique conditions of each colony and the factors influencing population dynamics regionally. Dr. Andrew Trites, professor in the Institute for the Fisheries and Oceans, director of UBC's Marine Mammal Research Unit, and one of the study's co authors, said the findings challenge common assumptions. It's tempting to assume that diet quality directly drives population size, but these results show that the same prey energy can yield very different outcomes depending on local oceanography, prey availability, and human pressures. Each colony lives in its own ecological neighborhood. This is actually quite fascinating that this article or even this study is mentioning this, considering this is something that or you don't see in many studies when it comes to, like, let's say the prey base. You have it to where there are different populations of the same animal and they're feeding on the same thing, yet in different areas, they're having different um, sizes or even different types of behavior. So this is interesting that they're finally mentioning this for these different populations of California sea lions. So let's see. So California sea lions range from British Columbia to Mexico's Gulf of California. They can reach a little further north, but their fates have diverged sharply over the past 40 years. In the US, populations at the Channel Islands, so this is off the coast of Southern California, have increased by several percent each year since the 1980s, while most colonies in Mexico have declined at a similar rate. To understand why, the researchers analyzed 4 decades of data on sea lion populations and diets, comparing what animals in each region were eating, how their numbers were changing over time. Interesting. So the Channel Islands, they have been increasing population since the 80s quite a bit. That's good to see. But, Mexico, it's been obvious in that same rate of time. Researchers measured two main aspects of diet quality. One was energy density, which captures how much energy each gram of prey provides. The other was diversity, measured using the Shannon Diversity Index and the number of main prey species making up a sea lion's diet. I'm guessing that they're feeding on a wide range of different species of squid in the region, different species of fish. They might even go after different species of shark occasionally. Let's see. Smaller species. There's something else, but it's not hitting me. Oh, probably seabirds, but that's, I'm guessing, a minor part of their diet. On both counts, the two regions were surprisingly similar. Sea lions in the Channel Islands had diets averaging about 5.4 kilo wholes per gram of wet weight. I have not heard of this measurement. So, wonder what a kilo whole is. While those in the Gulf of California average 5.3, it's nearly the same. In other words, both populations were eating equally rich food, yet the Gulf's colonies were declining. The composition of each diet, however, told a different story. Sea lions in the Channel Islands fed mainly on a small number of schooling fish and squid species such as anchovy, mackerel, and market squid. In contrast, those in the Gulf of California ate an impressive 88 different main prey species. Whoa, wow, that's a lot. I wasn't expecting that many, specifically since California sea lions are mostly carnivorous. That's quite astonishing. Now, I do want to look at something. So the Channel Islands, I will say though, even though I know I mentioned the same amount, technically it's not. It is stating that the Gulf of California, which I'm guessing is like the Baja California region of Mexico, is technically slightly less than the Channel Islands. Even though the diet is likely not having a major impact, I wouldn't doubt there's a slight bit of an effect going on. But let's see. So, dominated by benthic species and schooling fish. I'm guessing the benthic is referring to animals such as squid, so probably different species of cephalopod. The wider menu didn't make them better off. The team found no simple link between how diverse or energy rich a diet was and whether a colony was growing or shrinking. During the 2014 to 2016 Pacific heat wave, known as the blob, I don't remember this. Sea surface temperatures rose across the region and disrupted prey availability. In the Gulf of California, sea lions shifted toward eating more benthic fish. Oh, okay. I guess I was wrong on the squid part. And fewer schooling fish and squid, which caused a measurable drop in the energy density of their diet. Well, that could have an effect on a whole generation of sea lions. They could simply be pregnant, and all of a sudden, they're not able to sustain enough nutrients to form the pups inside of them. Yet, even this shift had mixed effects. Some colonies experienced temporary declines, while others appeared unaffected. Hmm. The Gulf of California, Trites added, is a particularly complex neighborhood. It is a mosaic of subregions shaped by different currents, temperatures, and prey communities. In the southern Gulf, around places like Los Islotes, that sounds like a food, sea lion numbers have remained stable or even increased. Oh, um, let's see. Farther north, colonies have struggled as warming and changing prey patterns made their foraging grounds less reliable. Huh. For conservationists, this means there's no single problem with the sea lion populations in the Gulf of California. Protecting the species, I thought they said that that the Gulf of California population was declining, and that further north near the Channel Islands.
Now,
Uh,
are they saying that the sea lions are doing all this by themselves?
you mean like there's no human interference?
Yeah, the way they're eating
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it
just
seems
altered their diet.
that way. Slightly. I mean, they're just mainly feeding on certain types of fish and squid. A wide range of different species of squid.
Yeah, but didn't it say they were eating less of it?
Yeah, due to basically there being less of those prey species. Now, it only mentioned specifically the Gulf of California had 88 different prey species. I was thinking maybe there would be a difference in the Channel Islands region. So, for conservationists, this means there's no single problem with the sea lion populations in the Gulf of California. Protecting the species requires understanding how each rookery interacts with its environment, how prey species change, how females alter their foraging trips, and how local fishing activity or pollution might tip the balance. The authors argue that better long term monitoring is needed to track these shifts and to distinguish between natural fluctuations and human driven change.
Wait, is this saying the female seals are cooking?
Yeah, it seems that way. But forage just basically means looking for food, eating the food. Instead of asking whether sea lions are eating the right food, this study asked how a changing ocean is shaping the food that's available. Huh? And how adaptable sea lions can be in response. Okay, well, so it's still a bit of a mystery as to what's going on, though there does seem to be certain clues, but that was mainly pointing to almost diet when it came to earlier in time. But why overall have they been dropping since the 80s? Still, another part of the puzzle has yet to be solved. Anyway,
Okay, this I found funny.
now let's head to the first video. Oh, let me guess, somewhere in Florida, and a manatee just popped up.
Yeah, it just the dogs are like, is that a playmate? He's really round. Do we need to feed him? Wait, let's get him a meal.
Yeah, manatees, they reach somewhere around 1,000 pounds or a little over 480 kilograms.
Is that the largest ones? I thought they got bigger.
There might be another species of dugong that might become a slightly larger, which is basically it's another type of manatee. You can find certain populations over just east of northeastern Australia, and even some over in southern Asia, and I believe off the coast of some part of northeastern Africa. So, well, northeastern sub-Saharan Africa, I believe. So off the Somalian, Ethiopian coast. Okay, so traveling back in time from Sci News. Paleontologists identify new species of flat headed herbivorous dinosaur, a new genus and species of hadrosaurid dinosaur that lived during the Cretaceous period. And what is now New Mexico has been identified and named by paleontologists for the United States and the Slovak Republic. So, this is quite interesting. I'm going to be guessing sometime during the late Cretaceous, probably no more than, or not any earlier than around 83, 84 million years ago, because that's right when the hadrosaur group evolved. Before that, it was different species of iguanodontid, and the iguanodontids would have um, diversified into a wide variety of different families like Elasmeria, and the hadrosaurs just appeared at the beginning of the Campanian stage of the Cretaceous. Let's see what we have here. It's interesting. It's almost got like a 1999 Walking with Dinosaurs iguanodon sort of a stripe pattern to it. I really do like that look, but also it has a very thick. They're giving this animal a very thick sort of a tail structure, and as well, a bit of a elongated vertebra too. This is not very common in different species of hadrosaur. You could find this in certain earlier iguanodontid species. You could also find it in later hadrosaurs as well, like Barspoldia. I believe there's another member of the Saurolophid lineage of hadrosaurs. You could find this too, but it's not very common. And this is technically a mini sail that you could say, kind of like the Spinosaur predators, which the hadrosaurs did not coexist with. The Spinosaurs went extinct around 95 million years ago at the very beginning of the late Cretaceous period. So, Hadrosauridae, a family of large herbivorous dinosaurs, were among the most abundant dinosaurs of late Cretaceous terrestrial ecosystems of the western interior basin of North America for about 20 million years. Not even sure if it was that long, unless they found certain earlier species of hadrosaur that I just haven't heard of. So let's see. This group, commonly known as the duck-billed dinosaurs, was one of the most taxonomically diverse and successful dinosaur groups during the Cretaceous. I think why they refer to the term as successful is that We have found quite a few specimens, especially over in Canada, of different species of hadrosaurs, such as in Montosaurus, Parasaurolophus, and it was in such a short amount of time that they were able to create a variety of different genre and families. During the last 20 million years of the Cretaceous, so I guess referring to about 86 million years ago, hadrosaurs achieved a global distribution and were present in Africa, Antarctica, Asia, Europe, and North and South America. The Antarctic hadrosaur is still a mystery. It hasn't been clarified yet whether or not or what this specific hadrosaur species would have been. So at the moment, it's unnamed. In fact, it was found back in the 1970s. And at least, I think the estimate is that it could have been a 30-foot long individual or about 9 meters. Yes, it doesn't look like so far there have been any species of hadrosaur found over in Australia. But there were earlier species of iguanodontids that existed over in Australia. So let's see. Named Aschylosaurus womani, the new hadrosaurid species lived during the late Cretaceous around 75 million years ago. Okay, so where did they find this too? Oh, um, anyway, this is during the late Campanian stage of the Cretaceous. So you had different species of medium-sized tyrannosaurs existing, a wide range of different armored ankylosaurs, as well as quite a few different um, subfamilies of horned ceratopsian dinosaurs, like Pachyrhinosaurus and Styracosaurus. The dinosaurs' fossilized bones were found in the layers of the Kirtland Formation in the Ashi wilderness. Interesting, they gave dashes, which is
Say that 3 times real fast.
yeah, Ashi which is located in San Juan County, New Mexico, between Chaco Canyon and the Denazin Wilderness. Chaco Canyon also sounds like a food, almost like a dessert too.
I agree with that.
I don't know why, but I keep thinking of like some sort of a cake. The holotype specimen consists of an incomplete diagnostic skull, several isolated cranial elements, including the right jugal, quadrate, dentary, and syringular, and a series of articulated cervical vertebrae. In addition to the holotype, several specimens from the same layers may also belong to this newly identified species, including a well preserved left dentary and a partial skeleton, as well as two humeri, one belonging to a large adult and the other to a juvenile. Oh, okay. Well, that's good to hear. I guess we haven't. There hasn't been a lot found from these specific individuals, but just enough to indicate that it's a different species of hadrosaur. And as well, we found a juvenile. That's always good to see that we found youngsters. In previous studies, Ashlysosaurus womani was referred to Critosaurus. So this is another species of hadrosaur from New Mexico, also from the late Campanian. A younger genus of Cerulophyne hadrosaur from the Kirtland Formation. Both species are relatively closely related within the hadrosaur subfamily Cerulophyni. Huh. Well, mentioned younger genus, so that would mean that it occurred later in time. So maybe approaching 70 million years ago. So this would be like the early Maastrichtian stage of the Cretaceous. However, according to the phylogenetic analysis, they represent two distinct groups that were present during the Campanian age of the Cretaceous in southern Laramidia. So, is it possible that um, Aschylosaurus is not a Saurolophid? In fact, it's another branch of Hadrosaur altogether. The Saurolophins were a group, a subfamily of hadrosaurs that existed during the late Cretaceous. Quite a few over in different parts of Mongolia, northern China, I believe even certain parts of eastern Russia, and then, of course, Canada, and even down into the lower 48 of the United States, like Montana, Wyoming, have different specimens of different species of Saurolophid hadrosaur. Let's see. This stratigraphically younger Critosaurus is a member of the Critosaurinae clade that includes several northern Laramidian species. Furthermore, the phylogenetic results suggest that the clade that includes Aschylosaurus and Nashoibatosaurus, along with two unnamed species from southern Laramidia, split from Critosaurinae during the late Campanian about 75 million years ago. Could you look up Parasaurolophus? So Parasaurolophus. And there will be another individual. Yeah, so um it's mentioning that there was another offshoot from the Critosaurs. So this Parasaurolophus is a bit of an older reconstruction. They should have a lot more size to them or a lot more muscle, especially around the neck region. Seems a bit skinny. Their crest, it's been a bit of a debate as to whether or not there would have been quite a massive area of tissue around the bottom of their crest, or it just simply would have been extremely long crest without any corresponding tissue. But beside that, this animal inhabited the province of Alberta, Canada, around 75 million years ago, and probably weighed somewhere around 7 to 9 tons in some instances. It's one of the larger species of hadrosaur.
Are these 2 better?
Um, s- I mean, I don't mind the Isles version. It still could have a bit more muscle on it. Now, it is interesting. I think the hind legs look really good. The tail's okay. I think could actually be a bit thicker, especially for the species Parasaurolophus walkeri, which there's a smaller species that has a very short crest compared to its body size. Used to be debated that it might have been a female, but it looks like from more phylogenetic analysis done on it, it's its own species, and it's much smaller compared to the Parasaurolophus walkeri species. Now, what is interesting, I haven't seen this before, at least I can't recall it, is that they added a very large, almost bell to the under area of the neck of this individual. So that's really interesting to see. These animals, for some reason, had quite small arms compared to their body size, but they were just robust enough or large enough that they could maintain some of their weight.
Looks like it out could out arm wrestle a T-Rex.
It probably could. T-Rex, actually, I'm not sure about the strength when it comes to Parasaurolophus forelimbs. It must be immense considering they're able to withstand several tons. T-Rex could barely lift a little more than 400 pounds, but with arms about the same size as very robust humans, that's pretty impressive. And he's barely training. So let's see. What was the other one? Oh yeah, I think the back legs look pretty good on this. The forelimbs look a bit skinny for a Parasaurolophus. There were certain species of hadrosaur that had quite thin forelimbs, but many of them were still able to put all their weight on all four legs. It was members of a certain species of certain lineage of iguanodontid called the elasmarians, like Mutabarosaurus. Actually, could you look up that individual? So headed over to Australia, Mutt, I believe Ubarsaurus. So this individual lived. Oh, what? Didn't come up?
No, you just misspelled it,
Oh, I put the U in the wrong place.
or I didn't add in a correct, letter, which is always possible.
Well, Butterborosaurus lived much earlier in time compared to Parasaurolophus and inhabited a completely different region too. Parasaurolophus was over in North America, whereas Muttaburrasaurus was over in Australia. In fact, Queensland itself, so in the northeastern region, around 100 and around 110 million years ago. So during the late early Cretaceous period. So you had different species of Spinosaur existing in other regions of the earth, especially different parts of Europe, like England, and even North Africa, such as Egypt, Morocco, Chad. But Matamorasaurus, however, was over in Australia and it coexisted with different species of Megaraptor at the time, such as Australvenator, which is somewhat related to the dromaeosaurs, but it's not a typical dromaeosaur raptor. But Montebarosaurus could reach around probably 20 or 23 feet in length or pushing 7 meters and weigh somewhere around 1.5 to 2 tons. However, the arms on Montebarosaurus don't look like they were capable of supporting much weight, unlike the later species of hadrosaurs such as Parasaurolophus. Certain older reconstructions would show Muttaburrasaurus walking on all fours, but it looks
Those are
like
pretty big arms, though.
they are, and even to animals like T Rex or just tyrannosaurs in general. But they weren't large enough to support its overall weight. And also, if you look at the structure of their hands, it doesn't look like they would have been pronated like the hadrosaurs. So the hadrosaurs, when you see the animal, even when it's walking all fours, but bipedally, so on two legs, its feet, like the back of its palm, you could say, are facing towards their rear. Whereas this animal, the palms are facing towards themselves, or its hand palms or paws, but they look a bit more like hands, at least without the added skin and muscle. But hadrosaurs and even I guess less so with these iguanodontids, somewhat. They had a bit of a hoof-like structure on their foot. So, earlier species of iguanodontid would have had a thumb spike, and then they just lost that thumb in their evolution for some reason. But it's odd. It's like that would be a very useful weapon for fighting off other members of its own species or predators. And for some reason, evolution just decided to get rid of it. Yeah, so this is of a earlier species of iguanodontid, or I don't know, is it saying? No, it's saying it's a Muttaburrasaurus. Hmm. I'm not sure. It's possible that Muttaburrasaurus might have had a smaller, definitely a much smaller thumb, even compared to its body size, when compared to animals like Iguanodon or what's that? Decododon over in North America. Iguanodon was over in England at around the same time, 135 million years ago. Okay. I guess we can get rid of these and head back to the article. Let's see. Yeah, Parasaurolophus was around actually not 9 meters, 11 meters or 36 feet in length when referring to the larger individuals. So let's see. Um, So, according to the team, together with Nashoibitosaurus and Aeschylosaurus, forms a potentially new group of flathead sauropod hadrosaurs. Whoa. Okay. So they're saying altogether that this is a completely new family of hadrosaurs. I was wondering if I had just forgotten a certain subfamily. This clade suggests the sauropods were a taxonomically diverse group. Oh, well, I mean, technically they already were, but if you're adding a completely different subfamily from the Sauropods, and yeah, which during the last 20 million years of the Cretaceous were among the dominant herbivorous dinosaurs in southern Laramidia. Recognition of a new hadrosaurid species from New Mexico also provides further evidence for um, latitudinal variation in the hadrosaurid fauna during the late Cretaceous and Laramidia. Okay, well, it's good to see. We have possibly a new family of hadrosaurs, and we have discovered a new species. Okay, what's going on here? Oh,
Big fat bear.
whoa. Oh, I think I remember this individual. Yeah. Is that not Bruce? Not Bart. I forgot his name. Chunk, maybe? Yeah, it's just scent marking here. This is definitely in the fall, so this could be October possibly. He's got quite a bit of weight on, but he can get larger.
He looks like he's having trouble walking.
Yeah, he's okay. Yeah, there's probably salmon just down the river. Okay, so from e.vnexpress.net. Heading on to the next article. Captive Asian black bear transferred to rescue center in central Vietnam. Whoa. Oh, what do we have here? Expert from the Animals Asia Foundation take care of an Asian black bear before transferring him to the Vietnam Bear Rescue Center at Bac Ma National Park in Hue City. So, a man in the central province of Ninh An has handed over an Asian black bear, Ursus the Botanus, to the Vietnam Bear Rescue Center at Bac Ma National Park in Hue City. The Animals Asia Foundation, which operates the center, and local forest rangers brought the male bear from Yen Thon District to the rescue center on May 23rd. So Asiatic black bears, they can reach somewhere around, I think a little over 440 pounds or pushing 210 kilograms. And they are omnivores like American black bears, but they don't feed on as much, or at least on as many ungulates or two toed animals like deer in the region, and some areas, possibly antelope. And they inhabit certain areas of South Asia. Well, they used to dominate Southern Asia, like certain areas of Eastern India, and all the way to Vietnam, Eastern China. Um, it's not hitting me when it comes to Taiwan. But, oh, well, also you have it where they're over in Japan, just a different subspecies of Asiatic black bear. So let's see. The 90-kilogram bear kept by the family for 27 years will undergo a 30-day quarantine before being placed in a semi-natural environment with other bears. Huh. Um, Actually, that's quite an amount of time. A representative of Animals Asia in Vietnam said that the organization has rescued nearly 290 bears in Vietnam, including 8 from Nguyen. Actually, I have seen certain animals that are put through their own area, just separate area of like just separate enclosure for several months. So I guess you could say in some instances this is short. But for the most part, when it comes to their diet, Asiatic black bears tend to feed on a wide range of different species of fruit, and they will go after different species of insects. Could you pull up pictures of Asiatic black bears? So let's see. A representative of Animals Asia in Vietnam said that the organization has rescued nearly 290 bears in Vietnam, including 8 from Nguyen. In 2025, the organization has received 7 bears from households across the country through voluntary transfers. In 2005, Nguyen had 570 captive bears, the largest number in Vietnam. There's one who seems pretty healthy. I wonder where this guy is. Hmm. It just seems like pretty good terrain around him. But yeah, they do have quite round ears, unlike the American black bear, and a much more puffy sort of a fur structure, which is interesting. I do wonder why the Asiatic black bear has this type of characteristic, even certain brown bear populations, but it's more noticeable with the Asiatic black bear. It's probably the puffiest in terms of just the fur structure, especially around its face. Just what is the purpose of this? Like, um, how does this mutation benefit it when just in its surrounding ecosystem? Same thing with the rounder ears. Not something that you see in American black bears, brown bears, polar bears. Well, polar bears at all. But also, I guess you can the rounder ear is a bit of a trait that you can find in certain brown bear populations, all the way in certain parts of Eastern Europe, like in Romania, Slovakia, Poland. So definitely different parts of Russia. It's not seen though in the Kamchatka brown bears over in the Kamchatka Peninsula of Eastern Russia, which are basically Kodiak, Alaskan Kodiak brown bear size. But they will feed on a wide variety of different species of insects as the larger part of their animal protein source when it comes to Asiatic black bears. The same can be the case for certain species or certain populations of American black bears over in North America. So it's including certain populations, Canada, the United States, and Mexico. The spectacled bear over in South America, so certain parts of Peru, Ecuador, and much higher elevations. That animal is also technically a modern short-faced bear species, so closely related to the extinct Ice Age short-faced bears that used to inhabit North America, South America. But yeah, this looks like a really healthy mother with her cubs. So let's head back to the article. Let's see. Thanks to if, okay, so they had 570. Thanks to efforts by local authorities, forest rangers, and rescue forces, the number has fallen to just 15. Yeah. Um, I wonder if it's, like, due to, like, the bear bile industry, which is, yeah, quite, deranged. Let's see. So in Yanthon district, 2 households are currently raising bears. Authorities will continue to urge them to voluntarily hand over the animals as soon as possible. Oh, that's it. Okay. Well, it's good to see that that individual was rescued as well as these other bears. Let's head over to just the next video.
Okay, I couldn't tell if this is real.
Leopards can be quite bold towards like, one or two hyenas. This could be realistic. It also seems to be a smaller hyena. I think it's a male.
Would it do that with a spotted female?
Um uh probably be standing up. That's a pretty bold leopard though. It's like, okay, I'm just gonna keep walking. That was funny. No, it's just that's pretty bold leopard. Okay, so I guess heading over to the next article. Okay. So from nprnews.org, state elk populations stagnate. Researchers look into why. Let's see where we are. DNR Wildlife Supervisor Doug Frank said the Grygla elk herd is managed to a population between 30 to 38 animals. Elk population growth in Minnesota's three wild herds has stagnated, and researchers aren't sure why. So this seems to be the Grygla elk herd. I've not heard of this specific herd over in Minnesota. It's definitely a very small herd of 30 to 38 individuals. So genetic variety is definitely a major concern, unless these are, well, it still is. But I'm just referring to it might not be if these are animals reintroduced from member or individuals from states like Colorado, Wyoming, Montana, since you have some of the larger elk populations within those states. The Minnesota Department of Natural Resources limited the number of permits for hunting elk this year, following an aerial survey last winter that revealed lower than expected population numbers among the state's three wild herds. So Kelsey Lashar, the DNR's elk coordinator, said researchers aren't sure why elk populations in the state appear to have stalled, but they're particularly concerned about the Grygla herd, Minnesota's smallest. It's been below 30 for about a decade. Whoa. Okay. Yep. There's likely to be genetic issues in that herd. So we want to make sure that we're protecting the status of that elk. In an attempt to learn more, the DNR will soon launch a new research project. To start, it will include collaring 40 adult elk, 25 females and 15 males from the three existing wild herds this winter. Lashar said depending on migration, the state typically has about 100 to 250 elk based on the Caribou Vita herd, which moves freely between the US and Canada. I'm guessing Manitoba specifically. And she said it's not uncommon for small herds to not see growth within specific years. That's still not good. 10 years and they haven't reached above 30 for the most part. Where they were I don't think there are any other genetics coming in. Um hmm. So there may never be a good answer for, why we didn't see high amounts of growth between 2024 and 2025. But we'll at least be able to get a good snapshot of this population where they're at from here moving forward. I'm wondering if there are any wolves in specifically this area. There are wolf packs over in Minnesota, especially in the northeastern region, and they have been making their way towards the western part of the state. But um, I'm really wondering when it comes to this specific area. I'm guessing that it's adjacent to certain somewhat marshes or wetlands amongst the Manitoba border. Because if you go over to neighboring North Dakota, towards the north central area of the state and adjacent to, I think, the Saskatchewan province border, there's a massive marsh area that you can find different populations, or I guess, certain population of moose in. I don't believe there are any elk in that region. Historically, there were. So, DNR estimates more than 100 elk live along the Minnesota Manitoba border. Well, it said further up that there were around 250, but maybe it depends on the year. Meanwhile, the DNR said two of the state's four elk permits were filled over the 9-day elk hunt season this year, giving out elk permits with this few of animals. And there's probably not a lot of genetic variety, though. I mean, I'd rather take out the ones that don't have much genetic variety than the ones that do. It runs from late September to early October. Well, that's the rut of the elk. So, especially the males, they have their great sets of antlers. Lashar said the two elk harvested were from the Caribou Vita herd, Minnesota's largest, and were bulls or adult males. So we didn't harvest any cows on the state side this year. I'll also say that the Red Lake Nation, so the Indian tribe, does also hunt within the boundaries of the 1863 Old Crossing Treaty area, and so their harvest season will go until December 31st. Lashar said the Red Lake Nation is permitting 5 either sex and 5 antlerless elk to be harvested during their season. Those results will be shared with the DNR sometime after the new year. I just think it's nuts with this small of a population that they're taking out the elk. But it also doesn't seem like there could be much genetic variety. So when it comes to somewhat inbred animals, I mean, you have large elk populations elsewhere. So it's one of those instances where it's like, it's fine. So I guess let's take a look at the next video. Oh, okay. One of these guys. This can be realistic. And it's simply due to it's probably a white-tailed deer farm, and they supplement them with an extraordinary amount of calcium and phosphorus. Like there's, I think some nutrition supplement called Trophy Rock.
He's so weird looking.
It comes in large bags, and this is going to develop into a massive. It already is, but a massive set of antlers. So it's not really an
Gotta be
infection.
hard on his neck.
Um, some of these guys also develop extremely large neck muscles. So, um, it's probably somewhat light at this point.
Hold on, I got one more.
I will say though, I mean, I think it's interesting, but I just think that whitetails with just more of the non-exaggerated antler structure look better. I'd probably say something different if I was looking at certain prehistoric deer, but oh, it's a leopard. Wow, it's hunting in the water.
Leopard gets kicked in the head, it's not gonna be real happy.
Wait a second, that was odd.
What?
I mean, I think it's certainly possible that that actually occurred, but there was something off about the way that it struck at the foal. Hmm. Maybe a leopard simply dodged. This could be authentic. Hmm. Wonder where that occurred. I don't think South Africa. I think further up in eastern sub-Saharan Africa.
Says river in the Serengeti.
Oh, okay. Well, that could be one of the few rivers over in northern Tanzania or possibly southern Kenya. Might have been the Masai Mara. Okay, so heading over to the next article. Goodthingsguy.com. Two cheetahs get fitted with collars in Hulului Imfulazi Park.
And they're gonna be delivering Cheetos.
Yeah. Yeah, don't feed corn to cats. So, unless his name's Chester. But this individual seems rather healthy. They're just putting on collars on him. Probably giving him a health check too. Conservationists will now be able to monitor the vulnerable species more closely in one of the oldest and most protected areas in South Africa, where their population is robust. You have to remember that the cheetahs are spread out in different populations within South Africa, so I wouldn't necessarily say that they're fine. So Wildlife Act, Ezemivlu KZN Wildlife, African Wildlife Vets, and the Forever Wild Foundation waited out tricky weather for days before they could safely dart and fit them. Cheetahs are extra sensitive because of their enlarged hearts, so the timing had to be right. After some tense days, the team managed to pull it off. Collaring is a vital tool that we don't speak about enough. It helps conservationists manage wildlife effectively, especially vulnerable and intensively managed species like the cheetah. Each of the two new units fitted to Hulawului Mepholozzi's cats contain satellite and VHF components that allow for close monitoring. Yeah, I'm wondering about the population over in South Africa specifically, and obviously it's spread out, but I'm guessing there's at least 15 or 1,700 cheetahs in South Africa. Real time tracking through both VHF and satellite collars has changed what's possible for our teams. Satellite data gives us a wide view of how individuals use the landscape, while VHF tracking lets us locate them directly in the field. Together, they allow us to respond quickly to threats and build the knowledge needed to manage this population effectively into the future. Oh, okay. So, guessing it's the same cheetah. So that data does more than tell scientists where Chia has been wandering. It helps catch problems early. If an animal stops moving, could be a sign of illness or a snare. It also paints the bigger picture of how the population is doing, whether individuals are breeding, and which animals could be candidates for translocations to boost genetic diversity elsewhere. The Hului, the HM cheetah population are now in a position to make an important contribution to the national meta population. Monitoring, utilizing collaring as a tool allows us to identify individuals for potential translocations, track reproductive success, and ensure that this population continues to strengthen both locally and nationally. Um, so, also when it comes to cheetahs, they reach somewhere around 155 pounds or a little over, what, 50? Oh, no, not 50, around 70 kilograms. And the Hului's cheetah population is especially important. It's one of the stronger groups in KwaZulu Natal, meaning it can feed into the national meta population, which is essentially a network of cheetah populations managed together to stop inbreeding and keep the species resilient. Also, when it comes to with only about 7,100 cheetahs left in the wild, keeping track literally matters. So this operation has given us the foundation we need to carry the work forward. Each collar fitted adds to our ability to monitor individuals daily and to ensure Hluwe Mufulzli remains a stronghold for cheetah conservation in KwaZulu Natal. So, see, what was it? You can also have it where cheetahs, specifically the males, will create packs of 5 or 6 individuals, and that's quite a pack of cheetahs. Let's see. I guess anything else? No. Guess let's head over to the next video.
Okay, this is DoorDash.
Let's see. Thought it was a camel for a second.
Oh, it's DoorDash or Uber
He's
Eats.
bringing. Oh, he's bringing like some alfalfa over. Oh, that's it's pretty friendly. Or very helpful.
And starts eating it.
I wonder if the other horse is sick and so he's helping it out, or maybe it's injured. Oh, yeah, this is it's pretty funny. I don't wonder if they're related.
They look like it, don't they?
Yeah, yeah, he's quite caring. I haven't seen this with horses. I think I might have noticed something with donkeys, but
Horses have a tendency to whack each other.
um, yeah, true. Especially if they don't get along. But these two seem to. Okay, now he wants the whole thing. Okay, so heading over to the next article from Sci News. New species of a belly-sword dinosaur discovered in Argentina. A new genus and species of a belly-sword theropod dinosaur has been discovered by a team of paleontologists from Argentina, Brazil, and the United Kingdom. This is good to see. Um, a wide range of different species of a belly sword were roaming different parts of Africa, Asia, and even South America. So let's see. The newly also like back into the early Cretaceous, not just the late Cretaceous. So over 110 million years ago, you had different species of the belly sword. The newly discovered dinosaur species, Vitosaura colozacani, roamed our planet around 80 million years ago. The ancient creature belongs to Abelisauridae, a group of predatory dinosaurs that thrived mainly in Gondwana during the Cretaceous period. So at this time, animals like the tyrannosaurs were not, well, I don't know, you might have had certain larger individuals pop up. The Zhushang tyrannus would eventually pop up close to this time, and that individual was around 33 to 35 feet in length, or pushing 10 to 11 meters, and weighing at around 3 to 4.5 tons. Oh, could you look up, let's see, I guess in a belly source? So Abelisaurus. So the ancient creature belongs to Belisauridae, a group of predatory dinosaurs that thrived in Gondwana during the Cretaceous period. The
Th
fossil record.
there's a lot of different looks of it.
Well, there are a wide range of different species of Belisaurid. I mean, it's okay if it looks like an Allosaurus or Majungasaurus, Carnotaurus, the Pykenosaurus, and it's the largest of the group. Let's see. So the fossil record of this group is currently represented by more than 25 species, and their most complete and abundant records are from the Argentinian Patagonia. That seems to be the case with a wide range of different types of dinosaurs. Well, this is in much earlier reconstruction. This is from one of those books I remember way back. They even at the time I thought they had weird looking dinosaurs. But yeah, the arms are far off from an belly sword. This is definitely better. I wonder what this is. Maybe not an Allosaurus. Gosh, what is this? Not Rugops. It's not hitting me what this species is. But the youngsters, I mean, they look pretty good. Even the adults, they're going after some species of frog. I don't believe it's supposed to represent something like Majungasaurus or Majungatholus. Is this a Rugops? Or no, I think it says an Abelisaurus. It's quite long arms compared to its body size, unlike different species of Abelisaurus. Most have very short arms, even like shorter than the T Rex. But um, maybe looking at the same size, looks like an AI thing. I think it's supposed to represent like a Carnotaurus, or at least looking at the skull structure and also the way the horns are splayed out, it definitely looks closer to a Carnotaur. Carnotaurus, the legs though are too robust for a Carnotaurus specifically. Certain other Majungasaur species might have had robust legs approaching this form, but they would be in many instances quite slender, especially when looking at the Carnotaurus species, which inhabited Argentina around 67 million years ago. Okay, who is this? This is a very thin reconstruction. Okay, I think it's completely off anyway. That tail, that's concerning. And even the legs, the arms, they should be very tightly positioned against the body. And they did not have fingers that projected like different species, earlier species of carnosaur, like the allosaurs. Yeah, even this guy, for some reason, it is interesting. They're giving these animals um, very long fingers. They would have been quite stubby and almost connected to each other, kind of like with what you see in different species of herbivores, like the hadrosaurs or even ceratopsians, in the way their fingers would have been protruding. Yeah, even these arms are quite off. You could find this sort of arm shape. Still, you would add much more muscle on different species of Carcharodontosaurs, which were related to the Abelisaurs. They were another branch of Carnosaur. But the head isn't bad in the overall shape, but it's still not very robust, at least in the overall look. Maybe the bottom jaw is just a bit off. Seems a bit thin and curved. Bellisaurus also it's a bit of a carnosaur trait. Had much more peripheral vision, so they saw better towards the sides, even behind them slightly, less so in front of them. This is a bit of the opposite when you look at certain species of actually many species of Coelurosaur, animals like the raptors, such as maybe Velociraptors had a bit, slightly bit more peripheral vision, unlike animals such as Deinonychus. But definitely Tyrannosaurs had quite good binocular vision, some of the best.
I'm
Um,
running out of stuff on this guy.
okay, well that's okay. I think we can just head back to the article. What was it? Yeah, that one and that one. The second and third picture that we looked at were the best.
Is it this?
Yep. So let's see. Abelisauridae is a clade of Ceratosaurian theropods erected in 1985 and characterized by the presence of a robust, short, and tall skull, well ornamented maxillae and frontals, a highly pneumatized axial skeleton, and reduced forelimbs. Very reduced forelimbs. I guess you could say non mononychid bad, but probably nearly on the same track. Mononychids were a group of Coelurosaurs related to the dromaeosaurs, but I think they remember the Alvarezsaurid lineage of dinosaurs, and many of I think a handful had just one finger. So, the discovery of multiple Abelisaurid species over the last few decades, mainly in Gondwanan landmasses, has significantly enhanced our understanding of this group of theropods. Abelisauridae was the dominant clade of theropod dinosaurs during the Cretaceous in Gondwana, with numerous records in northern Africa and Indo-Madagascar, and they also reached Laurasia and what is current day Central Europe. Ah, tend to forget about that. Let's see. Beyond these records, the group was astonishingly successful in South America with a very abundant fossil record. It's just hasn't hit me where specifically those belly sores occurred over in Europe, because Central Europe's not exactly a small place. The fossilized bones of Vitosaura culizicani were excavated during field trips in 2009 and 2010 at the Tama locality of the Los Llanos Formation in La Rioja province, northwestern Argentina. So the theropod remains are represented by a first dorsal centrum, a second dorsal vertebra, a partial sacrum, left ilium, pubis, and ischium, and other intermediate elements, in indeterminate elements. The specimens were associated with several titanosaur postcranial remains. Whoa! So this is something you don't hear very often. This specific species of Abelisaur, so what the Phytosaura, has been found adjacent to long necked sauropods in the area, and I'm not sure if we know. Well, postcranial, it could be several titanosaur individuals, but 80 million years ago, I'm not sure specifically what type of a sauropod we're talking about. They're not very common to find during this time in the late Cretaceous. Vitosaura kalasakani was a medium-sized abelisaurid with a total length between 4.5 to 5.5 meters, around 15 to 18 feet. So I'm guessing he probably approached a ton in weight, um, or a little over 2,000 pounds or 1,000 kilograms. So this is good to see. It's not exactly a small individual. Actually, smaller belly sores aren't very common. This size area is, you could say, somewhat typical of different species of a belly sword.
What do you mean this size area?
Oh, okay, that was a bit redundant. The 14 feet to 20-foot range, and then 20 to 30 feet. A 30-foot long belly sword is a huge species, such as the Pyncomosaurus. The species lived in a seasonal, semi arid, and drained environment, with average annual rainfall fluctuating between 230 and 450 millimeters per year. I think that's somewhere around, it's not hitting me at the moment. 30, little over a foot.
It's 1.47 feet.
Hmm. Oh, yeah, that's not very much. Yeah, it's quite little. The discovery of Vidasaura kalasakani in the Campanian beds of the Los Llanos Formation in La Rioja province expands the geographic distribution of Abelisaurids, but the implications of the new species are limited by its incompleteness and the state of flux that we note in multiple recent phylogenetic analyses focused on the Abelisaurid inner relationships. Um, hmm. So there's something that's not fully coming together with this new species. We consider that it is necessary to carry out new studies to improve the topological robustness of the phylogeny of Belisauridie and discover new material assignable to Vitasaura colzicani to test more robustly the phylogenetic hypotheses discussed in our study. Yeah, so I bet there's a lot that we could get out of this specific species of a Belisauur. And even those Titanosaur remains, they're not mentioning specifically what these could be. So that's it's quite fascinating. And we will be right back. We're going to take a 2-minute break. Alrighty, so I guess taking a look at another video, and remember to like and subscribe. Okay, let's see what's going on here. Hmm. Yep, hard time for the bison. Winter's really good for the wolves. Usually, like it's just it makes pretty practically all of the prey species, especially the elk and bison, they focus on during the winter exhausted when talking about the Greater Yellowstone ecosystem. And I'm guessing they're trying to go after that younger female. There's a bull there too. Well, a younger male. Wonder what pack this is too. Does it say the Wapiti pack? Yep, Wapiti wolf pack. At least at that year they were exclusively hunting bison. That's interesting. Not even taking on a lot of elk. It's very odd for wolves. I mean, it's quite astounding. Oh no. Yeah, that's probably not realistic. I mean, I think I've seen instances where meerkats have hopped onto warthogs, but
That's a big meerkat, isn't it?
yeah, he's huge too. But this is it's just a Pumbaa Timon reference. Not many grubs in that area.
Here?
Yep. Okay, so moving forward back to the present from en.highnorthnews.com. Walrus detectives help map out the Atlantic walrus. So the Atlantic walrus population is much smaller than the Pacific walrus population. However, they're the same species, just different subspecies, with the Pacific walrus being slightly larger. So let's take a look at what's going on here. So since 2021, World Wildlife Fund and the British Antarctic Survey have engaged so-called walrus detectives. And just to remind you, walruses only exist in the Arctic Ocean, not the Antarctic Ocean. In the Antarctic Ocean, you have seals, and um, the walrus is not a seal. It is a member of the pinniped family, but it's just simply a walrus. Though its close relatives are the earless and eared seals. So let's see.
Do
Um,
you know who's older?
I do not. I believe the eared and earless seals are older than the walrus. So, through the research project Walrus from Space, the public can help provide scientists with vital data on walrus populations. Over 37,000 detectives have contributed so far. I wonder if that's referencing the population, which, if that's true, that means that the population of Atlantic walrus has increased quite a bit. Recently, at least the last time that I checked, the Atlantic walrus population was only around 20 to 25,000 individuals. The Walrus from Space project investigates how walruses are impacted by the climate crisis. Since 2021, World Wildlife Fund and the British Antarctic Survey have appealed to the public for help counting walruses. The so-called walrus detectives help by searching through years of satellite photos of the Arctic, detecting walruses, and providing scientists with vital data on walrus populations. The project aims to carry out a census of Atlantic walrus populations in Canada, Greenland, and the Norwegian Arctic. So probably like the um, Svalbard region of that area of Norway.
How many walruses were killed in that,
Uh,
so-called documentary?
Yeah, way back. I don't remember. I mean, it looked like over 100, somewhere between 100 and 200 individuals. Definitely the polar bears were not. They were. I mean, they were very happy about that. So let's see. Where was I getting? Oh, so yeah, walruses they can reach somewhere between 3 to 4,000 pounds, or a little over 1,200 kilograms. So let's see. Furthermore, we'll attempt to explore. Okay. So far, 37,000 people have accepted the position as walrus detectives, and the helpers have reviewed 2 years of the total 6 years of satellite images. Okay, so let's see. By looking at satellite imagery, the public has been helping scientists find and count where walruses haul out or rest during the summer months. WWF for World Wildlife Fund UK recently shared on LinkedIn that the project has garnered new discoveries. Rediscovered a site last surveyed in 1985, found two unexpected walrus haul-out sites in Greenland, identified a completely new site. They emphasize that these discoveries help scientists learn how climate change may affect walruses. Okay, let's see. Is there anything else? So those 37,000, were those really people and not the walrus? Hmm. Okay, so I mean, it's nice to know that they found these specific areas, but I would like to see an estimate on the whole population in general.
It's amazing they got 37,000 people to do that.
Yeah, I mean, because they heard walrus and it's just quite appealing. Okay, well, yeah, walruses, they also feed on a wide variety of different sea worms inside of the Arctic Ocean. And they're one of the most communicative species of marine mammals on Earth, even more communicative in some instances than different species of dolphins and whales. So,
So you're saying they can't shut up.
no, in fact, one of the longest recordings, I believe, of walruses lasted over 18 hours. Like, yeah, so that's longer than many species of whale. Okay, well, that was interesting. Um, we look at another video. Oh yeah, I didn't see the pup there. It's a brand new pup. Oh, okay. So one of the zoos, and what are these macaroni penguins? Or are they rockefeller? Some South American branch of penguin. So definitely not way too small and completely different morphology compared to king or
I just thought they were funny.
yeah emperor penguins.
Let's hop up and down and up and down.
Well, this is somewhat natural for them because they're having to jump down rocks or different bits of ice. So, yeah, if anything, this is really good. This is a good strengthening condition when they're having to invade different schools of fish. Well, and evade the um, not the leopard seals. In some cases, the South American sea lions, which will hunt the penguins. So, moving forward from knpr.org. Uh, oh, outdoor Nevada, see the state's newest wild animal. Well, moose aren't exactly new. They somewhat are to northern Nevada, but there has been a population there for at least about a decade. But let's see where they've been occurring. Seems to be a healthy individual if that's one from Nevada. So when you think about Nevada wildlife, you probably think about yeah, bighorn sheep, wild horses, devil's hole pupfish, or elk. Oh yeah, I tend to there are certain populations of elk over in Nevada. I think there's at least 40,000 animals in the state, which it's quite surprising to people considering how, um, in many ways, habitat-less the state appears. There's actually a certain amount of habitat for elk. Let's see. But on this episode of Outdoor Nevada, host Connor Fields wanders into the Darbridge Wilderness in search of one of the state's newest residents, moose. Normally at home in the deep woods and wetlands of Canada and states such as Alaska and Minnesota, moose populations have grown in recent years and extended their habitat south to include Utah and Nevada. Oh, well, they've been in Utah for a long time. I'd say since at least the late 1800s, or early 1900s, but definitely over a century. According to the Nevada Department of Wildlife, more than 100 moose reside in the extreme northern part of the state. I actually thought it'd be slightly more, but I guess the population has stayed in this number for at least a few years now. And while the state's moose population is growing, they're still a pretty rare sight. Well, yeah, that's still a small number. That's probably the individual. Looks like a healthy moose. So moose are the largest game species we have in Nevada. They're black. They're big. So you're like, oh, I'll see one. Um, hmm. I guess, yeah, certain moose individuals, especially the males, can have a bit more of a black sort of appearance. A lot of time they tend to be like a sort of brownish fur color. But I've been humbled so many times. Webner says she's gone to find moose whose tracking collars indicate they're in, say, an aspen stand or a willow patch, only to be disappointed. I remember, yeah, looking for moose over in some part of western Wyoming, but I was near the border with Utah. I think it was Bear River State Park, and it was during the rut too. But I don't think there was any sign of moose. Didn't even find any dung patches. So you go in and you'll be doggone if you can't pick them out. It can hide pretty well. The Jarbidge Wilderness is an area where moose are making themselves at home. Tucked away in the far northeastern reaches of the state, this area was designated as the Silver State's first wilderness in 1964 and encompasses more than 100,000 acres of thick alpine forests, rugged peaks, sweeping basins, and river cut gorges. It also boasts amazing hiking, camping, backpacking, fishing, and hunting opportunities. I believe this is somewhat adjacent to, yeah, certain areas in Utah, like these slivers of mountainous areas. You might have it where moose are moving through. Um, Last time I checked, Utah.
Mooses are moving through?
Oh, yeah. Well, maybe. Well, somewhat during the fall, but they're very small mooses. They're like, "Urgh," but not like a fully exaggerated orc sort of sound. So let's see. Oh, so, tucked away in the far northeastern reaches of the state, this area was designated as the Silver State's first wilderness in 1964 and encompasses more than 100,000 acres of thick alpine forests, rugged peaks, sweeping basins, and river cut gorges, or I think 50,000 hectares. It also boasts amazing hiking, camping, backpacking, fishing, and hunting opportunities. Yeah, I think I saw a thing where they're now putting out tags for this small moose population. I'm like, there's only 100. Okay. Oh, oh, I think this might be it. Hmm. Oh, um, I don't know what else to say about the moose over in northern Nevada. Yeah, Utah. Last time I checked, had around 3,000 moose. There were like 4,000 back in the early 2000s. Then for some reason there was a major drop. Okay, let's see what's going on here. See some. Oh, whoa! What on earth? Is that a? What is that? Is that a fox or a coyote? Oh, I think it's a gray fox. Oh, wow. I'm guessing it has rabies.
Foxes don't usually go after people.
No. Yeah, that was unfortunate. Okay, well, heading over to the next article from NBCNewYork.com. So, injured bear is stealing pumpkins from Connecticut homes. Animal control says, let it be. Yeah, I think you should just let the bear take the pumpkins. Um, so let's see. Hmm. Yeah, it doesn't seem like a very large bear either. Yeah, it's obviously a black bear over in Connecticut. I think there could be around 5 to 6,000 black bears in that state, which is a decent amount considering that Connecticut's a small state. It's what, um, 9,000 square miles, maybe a little over 18,000 square kilometers. Much smaller than like New Hampshire or Maine. So there's a furry thief on the loose in Connecticut, West Hartford, and oh, Hartford's the capital of Connecticut. West Hartford Animal Control said an injured bear has been taking pumpkins from homes in town. Oh, this is over in Plainville and Bristol. So although we all want to assist the bear in recovering from its injury, unfortunately there is nothing that can be done. The bear may appear to be struggling to move or care for itself, but animal control said that isn't the case. Authorities said they observed the bear on Wednesday, saw it running despite its injured paw. Yeah, it's guess this grizzly is wanting some pumpkins as well. I kind of wonder if you just caught the bear in a certain angle, and that's probably how he looked.
That would be funny.
What was this posted on, like, Bear Appreciation Day?
Says animal control.
Yeah. This doesn't sound like a type of animal control that is going to, go and kill a couple of squirrels.
Or a raccoon.
Well, that too. Bears are remarkably resilient and adaptable, capable of overcoming numerous challenges, including physical injuries. The bear has demonstrated a strong will to preserve. The bear's habit of swiping pumpkins has caught the eye of local residents, though officials stress that such behavior is typical, as bears instinctively seek out food, particularly in the lead up to winter. I bet that black bears have been doing this since Ireland introduced Halloween to the United States. So they've probably been gaining quite a bit of pounds, especially during the fall, due to the supplement amount of carbohydrates and calories. West Hartford Animal Control is working with the State Department of Energy and Environmental Protection, and they'll provide updates as they're made available. Anyone who encounters the bear is asked to report it somewhere. Uh, and then all submissions will be sent to deep officials. Anyway, uh, I'm glad that this bear, not you, yeah, is at least grabbing small pumpkins. I was thinking of the enormous ones. These are actually quite small, so I'm a bit concerned he won't get enough carbs.
Well, I probably found bigger ones at other people's houses.
Yeah. Maybe he'll also get like some leftover deer carcasses or more nuts too, especially during the fall.
In people's front yards?
Yeah, that would be a bit concerning. And I wouldn't want him robbing their venison either. Okay, so I guess let's head over to, well, I guess see another video or the final. What's going on here? Oh, okay, back in Africa. Whoa, what's going on here? Some hippo, he grabbed something. What's in its mouth? Oh no. Yeah,
It took on a lion.
yeah, it looked like it was throwing it around.
Let's see that again.
Oh, did he grab it by the head? Oh,
I think she's having a rough day.
I don't know how the lion, it's not the first time. This occurred years, well, not, I haven't seen this specific video, but there was another incident with a lioness, and somehow she got so close to the hippo was able to grab her. And yeah, she sustained, I think, yeah, fatal skull injuries.
Don't they normally stay away from them?
No, they'll hunt them. Yeah, but I only saw 2 individuals there. Usually it's like a full pride of lions, except like those cases where there might be only 4 or 5, and then somehow that other one got too close. But no, you can have it where there's, 12 lions and they're piling onto a hippo. Usually it's also with the help of the males though, and I think that might have been a younger.
But they won't do it near the water.
Yeah, it's further away from the water on land. Also during the dry season, hippos can be much more exposed to them. But even during the wet season, if it's far enough from water and the whole area is not flooded, then yeah, even the hippos can be at risk. So on to the final article from discoverwildlife.com. You're full of anxiety. Can you find it? How German farmers are using drones to save adorable baby deer from deadly machinery. Hmm. Well, I wonder what's going on here. Every year in Germany, thousands of fawns perish during haymaking season. I'm guessing that happens in the United States too. I mean, there are way more deer here than Germany, but I'm also talking about a country that's only the size of Montana. So let's see. Now, volunteers are using technology to rescue them. Well, there's one, except that could be a young red deer. Huh. So it's dawn in a meadow in southern Bavaria, so we're in southern Germany. A faint breeze ruffles the grass and whispers through the leaves of the woodland nearby. It seems deserted, yet looks closely. There, in the shadow, between blades of grass, two glossy brown eyes glitter. Curled unseen in its green den lies a tiny, oh, roe deer. Yeah, that makes more sense. Looking at um the skull structure of the fawn, it does look more like a roe deer. A red deer would be much longer and Probably larger eyes compared to its body size too. Bigger ears with black nose, outsized ears, and fur dappled with spots. Not far away, farmer Klaus Waldschutz is busy attaching his mower to his tractor. Oh no, it's hay season, and the weather is fine and dry, perfect for haymaking. Klaus has 6 hectares or 12 acres of grassland and meadow to cut, dry out, rake, and bale. It will be a long few days, but the hay crop is vital nourishment for the farm's dairy herd through the winter months. So let's see. With a dry weather window this morning, farmers all over Bavaria are preparing their hay mowers. Oh no. These are impressive pieces of kit containing whirling knives and that swiftly reduce the knee-high grass down to a few centimeters. Okay, no, I'm really just being funny with this, but I'm imagining just the fawns and them being, blendered up.
Yeah, that's a way to put it.
Let's see. Evolution has not prepared the fawns for such behemoths. That's terrible. They're gonna need ankylosaur armor. The loss of life is staggering. In Germany alone, between 50,000 and 100,000 deer are thought to perish beneath the blades of hay mowers each year, according to Deutsche Wildtierstiftung, German Wildlife Foundation.
Isn't England complaining about their deer?
Oh, yeah.
They have too many.
Yeah, but I bet, they probably do the same, which, I mean, I gotta be honest, running over a fawn, I mean, even where they are, overabundant, it comes to a point where it's just like, that's wrong. Um, I just
I like how you said that. It's just wrong.
but, what is it? Yeah, when it comes to the adults, it's like, yeah, don't run over them with your tractor or whatever, but, yeah, just, shooting.
Whoa, are you saying the adult deers are running over the fawns with their tractors?
Oh, yeah, that never hit me. Maybe. I mean, gotta be careful with people or with deer like, oh, no, it's not Bambi, it's somebody else. It's not hitting my mind. Oh, well. Oh, yeah, Elliot, that guy from Open Season. So, let's see. So the loss of life is staggering. I already said this, but 50,000. Geesh. Wow, I forget how many deer are in Germany. How could they recover from that? That seems like a bit exaggerated. Such collisions trouble farmers. Claus remembers when his father accidentally killed a youngster during mowing. It was long after a period of rain. The grass was pressured down, so he didn't notice the deer. He felt bad because a living creature was harmed. A farmer works with nature and its animals. Well, no, no, no. You feel bad because you ran over the fawn. It's completely natural to sever a cow. So a pig.
Well, and eat the deer.
Yeah, well, yeah, that too, but yeah, running over the tractor, you're just trying to sever the plants. Um, Even though broccoli screams. So I'm glad this roe deer fawn will be okay. So why don't fawns simply run from the mowers? The answer is rooted in the ingenious strategy roe deer have evolved to protect their newborns from predators. A strategy that has served the species well until relatively recently. Yeah, it's like the wolves that have come back to Germany are not the big problem. It's just not looking out for the roe deer in the fields. I always wondered about that, and like if deer would utilize, since there's so many crop fields depending on where you are, like you're talking about states such as Iowa, Wisconsin, um, different parts of Nebraska, and yeah, they're probably there. So Claus's farm lies 50 kilometers or 25 miles south of Munich in the foothills of the Alps. Oh, yes, very southern Germany. Amid rolling grassland and forest, perfect roe deer country. While primarily woodland creatures, roe deer often stray onto farmland, both to graze and to give birth. In long grass, the doe can more easily hide her fawns from predators. In this part of Bavaria, Mangvottel, these include foxes, badgers, and an occasional golden jackal. And you do have golden jackals over in much of Germany, Austria, even different parts of France, Switzerland. Newborn fawns are small and frail. It takes time for their legs to become strong enough to carry them far. For their first few days, the youngster remains where it was born, gathering strength as it's slowly fortified by its mother's milk, as it is slowly fortified. If twins are born, which is not unusual, the doe separates them as soon as they are strong enough to move to maximize chances of at least one surviving predator attack. It shows how smart the does are. The doe must also feed. If she stays close to her baby, she will lure predators. So the safest course is to graze some distance away, foraging for grass, leaves, and ferns. Um, Deer, I'm not so sure about roe deer specifically, but at least, whitetails over in North America, they feed on very little grass, barely 2% of their diet. Every 2 or 3 hours, once her udder is full, she returns to feed her fawn. With its mother away, the fawn's only defense is to stay hidden as it cannot outrun its predators. For the first week or two of its life, it obeys an innate instinct in the presence of a threat, lie low, and stay silent no matter how close that threat comes. Like, especially, I'm just thinking of the tractor, though. I mean, that's good for, oh, to an extent, even with the other predators. Okay, so if you are wondering why farmers don't simply check their fields or fawns before mowing, well, they do, and not only out of compassion. German animal welfare laws require farmers to take reasonable precautions to protect wild animals. Farmers also have obligations to deer and other game animals under the Revar system, which governs hunting rights. If a deer dies on their land, they may have to compensate the district's holder of hunting rights. Wait a second. Does that mean they have to go to, like, the council or whatever and get permission to, like, let's say it's fresh, eat it or utilize it?
or run it over.
Wow. Farmers are also seen to keep their hay free of animal remains, which may poison their cattle. Partly for those reasons, most farmers walk the hay meadows, often with dogs, to drive deer out before mowing, or ask their local hunters to do so. Unfortunately, despite these inspections, fawns are so well concealed that many lie undiscovered. Uh, Wait a second. Oh, so if these young deer are to be rescued in significant numbers, something much more effective is required. Something that can see through the grass to the unmoving fawn beneath. Happily, technology now offers a way to do just that. So the fawn blinks. Okay, let's get to the point. In 2020, the growing availability of drones inspired an unusual coalition of animal rights campaigners and hunters to set up Reichsrettung Deer Rescue Mangfidel. Funnel. The team now has 5 drones. It is supported by the German Agriculture Ministry, which funds two-thirds of their costs, up to 4,000 euros.
I'm sorry, but 5 drones?
Oh, right. That's funny. There are 12 volunteer drone pilots and 45 active members that assist with rescues. The drone team sets off before dawn, while the rescue teams follow a couple of hours later. Hmm, that seems like quite a gap, but okay. A self-confessed tech geek, Tim Rao, joined the deer rescuers 2 years ago after a neighbor, an elderly farmer, accidentally killed a fawn during mowing. He has assisted with rescues, but this morning Tim finds himself standing at the edge of the field, staring at a black control box in his hands. A few meters away, a small drone rises slowly from its landing pad and sets off on its mission to survey the field. Um, Okay. Um, we Tim's work has been made easier by one key supporter of the deer rescuers, Martin Israel, who moved to the area in 2020. An advisor to the group since 2021, Martin says he was the first person to mount a thermal camera on a drone to rescue fawns back in 2010 while studying for his doctorate in the subject. According to Martin, many rescue groups don't use drones efficiently. The pilots, uh, he explains, tend to watch the live view of the thermal camera on the monitor and, on finding a hotspot, stop the drone and send in the rescuers. This takes time, and the drone has to wait in the air, emptying the battery. Martin claims his method is 5 times faster. The drone flies around the field, recording a geolocated image every second. The images are then downloaded to an app. Tim looks for objects emitting heat, which show up in thermal images as light, warm colors. Colder objects are rendered in dark, cool hues. The thermal signature of a baby deer is very distinctive. A hare or a cat is of similar size, but you can definitely recognize the difference. So when the image reveals one or more hidden fawns, the drone pilot takes the GPS coordinates, shares them with the rescue team, and moves on to the next field. Now it's the turn of the rescue team. They must find the fawn and carefully remove it from the field. There are two people in each team. One carries a basket and the other a pole. A basket? How big is this basket? You trust the GPS coordinates. If you can't see the fawn, you put the pole in the ground as a marker and search a 5-meter radius around it. I guess around what, 18 feet? You are full of anxiety. Can you find it? Can you grab it? Once located, the youngest fawns who have the strongest instinct to freeze are the easiest to pick up. Rescuers wear new gloves each season. Strange scents transfer to a youngster, its mother may disown it. They'll often take a handful of grass in each hand before picking up the fawn, too, to avoid directly transferring their scent to it. The fawns are always lighter than you think and gangly. Their legs are very thin. They look at you with their big eyes. They're usually stressed. You can feel them breathing fast and their heartbeat. Oh, huh, it really is a basket. I guess I forget how small roe deer can be. Depending on the population, they might not be much more than 80 pounds or a little over 35 kilograms. So it's a good looking fawn. So later in the season, when the fawns start losing the instinct to freeze, picking them up becomes trickier. They will run for it, but you can grab them if you're quick. Slightly older deer tend to struggle more and cry out like an eagle call, a high whistle. Let's see. Any distress is brief. The rescuers carry their quarry to a nearby woodland edge, gently placing a basket over it to keep it safe while the hay mower cuts the field. It will rarely be moved more than 10 meters or 33 feet from where it was found. So when the time comes to release it, ideally within 2 hours, the mother has no difficulty in finding it again. The moment you release a fawn back into nature, that's super nice. Silently, you lift the basket. If it's very young, it will lie there until you move away, and then it cries for its mother. If it's a bit older, it runs away into the woods and then calls out. But in either case, you know the doe will be along soon. So the haymaking season may only last for 2 months, but there's a lot of ground to cover. Last year, Deer Rescue Maine Fatal searched 650 fields, a total of 2,000 hectares or 4,000 acres. It can be hard work for the volunteers, but it's rewarding. You're up at 3 a.m. and then comes your day job, but it's all worth it. And of course, the sheer number of lives saved encourages the deers to keep going. On the peak day in the 2024 season, the team saved 45 fawns. Oh, in one day. Oh, I guess
And
that's
how
not.
many fawns did they say were getting killed?
Oh, right. Yeah. Um, yeah, it was somewhere between 50 and 100,000, which seems a bit exaggerated. Though, why don't they have dogs on this? Oh, they don't want their scent ruined. I keep forgetting about that. Which is, huh? Okay. Yeah, this is challenging. So while drone use is more expensive than searching with a dog, it is nevertheless growing, with government support helping to fund 2,446 drones since 2021. Whoa, wow,
A second ago, it just said 5.
yeah, that was a huge jump. Um, plus a similar number of privately owned drones. He says are now enough to mount deer rescues in up to 40% of Germany's grasslands. Farmer Klaus Waschus is one satisfied customer. I've been doing this for a few years already, and I would recommend it to my fellow farmers. Whew, okay. Um, well, I'm some instances I don't know what to say, considering the sheer amount they're being run over. I don't know the roe deer, or even the red deer population over in Germany. So, this is a big question. But at least I'm glad a
I
handful.
would think to kill that many
Oh,
fawns,
well,
you would have
I believe there are at least 2 to 300,000 roe deer in Germany.
well, that would be a lot of the population every year. You wouldn't have a population.
Yeah, and I think maybe around the same or slightly more red deer, but I think depending on where you are, there could be. Well, no, it varies depending on the country. There can be more roe deer than red deer. So it's a big question. Was interesting. That was confusing with the walrus incident earlier on. I thought maybe it it was a joke, and the detectives were actually the walrus themselves. But I guess we haven't had a new estimate on the Atlantic walrus population. It's good to see with that new species of hadrosaur that popped up, and it's probably belonging to a completely new subfamily of hadrosaurs. Good to see a new species of a bellysaur popped up in Argentina, from the like middle late Cretaceous period. And then what happened? Those two collared cheetahs. That's good to see over in South Africa. And see what was the other? Oh, that Asiatic black bear rescue, and then the black bear meat munching on the pumpkins. So that was really good to see. Um, guessing the Asiatic black bear is also going to be munching on some pumpkins. Okay, so thanks for joining. And from prehistoric to present, my name is Ethan. This is Creature Guide Live Daily News. Remember to like, comment, subscribe if you love talking about animals, and share this show with everyone you know, because nothing is better than all animals all the time.